Aline is actually the assistant director at the the Center of Public Service Law Program at the University of Washington, and has a long history of experience in public service and various issues related to pro bono matters. Riti is at the ACLU of Washington and has a very active background in planning events and educational programs for the ACLU, but she's also been very involved in planning CLE events for young lawyers and other lawyers throughout the state. And Doug is, you've heard from Doug before, so I'll let you guys take it away. I think they'll each bring a different perspective, and again, we'll hopefully leave a couple minutes at the end for questions, but hopefully at the end of the day, I think what's important is, as Doug said earlier, it's about taking baby steps with your practice, with your profession, and so hopefully these are ways to jumpstart and really think about, all right, listen, I'm interested in public service, or I'm interested in getting involved in educational matters, or I'm interested in getting involved in a corporate setting. How do I do that? And these are the people that can help tell you that. So without further ado, I'll let you guys take it away, and I may chime in with questions throughout to keep you guys on your toes.
Great. Is the mic working? I can't really hear. Great. Fantastic. Hi, everyone. My name is Aline Carton, and I'm the Assistant Director for the Center for Public Service Law at the University of Washington School of Law. But that's a very recent hat that I just put on. More recently, I was actually at the Washington State Bar Association, developing and managing public service programming, and in the past have been a legal aid attorney and a community organizer, and I'm here to share with you a little bit about some opportunities, but really sort of what the call to service as attorneys, the unique position that we're in to really go above and beyond our own personal welfare and think about and actively participate in our communities, and the professional responsibility that we have to engage in public service in all its forms. And so I'll just give you some highlights of just some very quick topics that I hope to cover with you briefly today. Well, first of all, I'm sure you all know that the need for legal assistance, free or reduced fee legal assistance in the state of Washington and elsewhere is really, really great. Now more than ever, Washingtonians are in the need for some serious help. And sadly, our civil legal aid community and other sources of free legal assistance for people who are very low income just simply don't have the resources to be able to meet the real increased need that's out there. And so not only is it sort of a moral responsibility, and I'm sure you all, many of you who have been involved over in your own communities over the years, whether you're wearing a legal hat or not, you certainly appreciate and have your own experiences of the need for volunteering and why that's not only just an important thing to do, but how rewarding it can be for you as a member of your own community. So I'm going to just very quickly talk a little bit about RPC 6.1, which it's probably not something that you studied all that much in law school or reviewed all that much for the bar exam, but it is something that we do need to pay attention to. And so if you're not necessarily moved or compelled by the call to action and serve people who are less fortunate and who are in serious legal need of free or reduced fee legal assistance, perhaps knowing that the profession asks you and states that you have the professional responsibility to provide that kind of public service, perhaps that will move you to follow through on that commitment. And then I'll just briefly give you some ideas on some pro bono opportunities that are available and how you can access those, and also tell you a little bit about a new program called the Statewide Moderate Means Program, which is a joint project of the Washington State Bar Association with the 3 law schools to bring reduced fee legal services to people of low and moderate incomes. So with that said, I spoke a little bit about why it's critically important to provide access to justice. That it's, as you, I'm sure, were introduced in your experiences in law school and elsewhere, the value of equal opportunity and equal access to the courts. The courts are only as useful as they can be if everyone can access them in an equal manner. And so we're uniquely qualified as attorneys to really bring that. So let me just bring your attention to some specifics about RPC 6.1. And I'll just read it off. And I apologize, I don't have a PowerPoint, but I'm sure you're all very capable of accessing RPC 6.1 on your own. And I urge you to just check it out and see how it would work for you. Every lawyer has a professional responsibility to assist in the provision of legal services to those unable to pay. A lawyer should aspire to render at least 30 hours of pro bono publico service per year. And it's defined as pro bono publico is defined as delivery of legal services at no fee or a substantially reduced fee to individuals, groups, organizations seeking to secure or protect civil rights, civil liberties, or public rights, or charitable, religious, civil, community, governmental, and educational organizations in matters that further their organizational purposes, where the payment of such legal fees would significantly deplete the organization's economic resources or would otherwise be inappropriate. Part of the reason why I think it's important to really think about what that means is there's a lot of ways that you can contribute. Many people think of pro bono, providing pro bono assistance means, sitting down perhaps with a low-income client, providing assistance in a clinic setting. There's certainly those things are very true and very needed, but there's a lot of different ways that you can contribute. And two of those things that I would like to highlight for you today is really your call to serve for nonprofit organizations. That you can be a member of a board or on a nonprofit organization board. You can provide that one-on-one direct service assistance to low-income communities through a clinic opportunity through your local bar association or local volunteer program. And you can also provide substantially reduced legal fees. And so without going much further into 6.1, I really just urge you to check it out on your own and really look at what that means for you. And again, 30 hours of pro bono service, public service, is really not a whole lot of time in per year.
Aline, can
yeah.
we? So I want to save at the end to have each of you go through the specifics of how people can get involved in those areas. So
Absolutely.
Let's go to Riti to talk a little bit about getting involved or talk a little bit broadly about different opportunities to get involved in the community other than specifically on the pro bono side. And then at the end, I'll have each of you kind of go on and give some real specific, here's how you guys can go out and get active in these areas. So.
Great. So I'll be speaking a little bit about how to build your network. I went to school out of state. I went to the University of San Francisco School of Law, moved up here, studied for the bar, which was probably the most isolating experience on earth because I had no one to study with. And I would go to my bar classes and didn't recognize anybody. It felt already like everyone knew each other. And, we all know that misery loves company. And I didn't have that company. So it was pretty depressing. And then to be done with the bar was a huge relief. But then I looked around and thought, I don't even know the legal community here. I've never heard of the law firms. I'm not familiar with the organizations, aside from national organizations that also existed in San Francisco. So did anyone go to school out of state? Quite a few. Wow. And can you relate to that feeling? So you're looking around this room, and do you know others in here?
Any of you that went to school out of state, did you have any connection whatsoever with Washington?
Doug, I need you to take that microphone.
Did you guys hear my question? Anybody that went to school out of state, did you have a connection with Washington, Seattle, before? Okay, so some of you guys did have that connection. All right. Myself, like Riti, had zero connection. I moved up here, I'd never even seen this place. So I can identify with her pretty well.
So I moved up here, and this has been home to me all my life, except for undergrad and for law school. So it was really disheartening to come back up and think, oh, I have to start from scratch. You know, I have this great network in San Francisco, but I have nothing left here. I'm really disconnected from the legal community. And I didn't have a job. So I realized that I had to get my act together pretty quickly. And at the moment, I'm working at the ACLU of Washington as an events and programs manager. I plan CLEs, and my job is law-related. I work with lots of lawyers, so I'm doing that. I'm also chairing the CLE committee for the Young Lawyers Division with Doug, and I also just opened a part-time law practice on my own. So I have a lot going on, and that's kind of how I like to keep my life. But yesterday, in kind of the last stages of planning my own practice, I met with Pete Roberts at the Bar Association, who runs the LOMAP program, and that's the Law Office Management. That can mean, you know, putting yourself out there, going to events, talking to people. It could also mean sort of terminating relationships that aren't so healthy, so that things don't go down a bad road. So building a network, the real practical stuff. What I did right away was just get involved with legal organizations. On the website, it lists all the minority bar associations, and there are tons of them. There's Q Law for GLBT attorneys, the Filipino Bar Association, Korean American, Latino Latina, the Women's Law Association, and just go to a meeting. They love to see new attorneys get involved. So I'm seeing that we have very little time left. So what I did was I attended a social event. I went to the South Asian Bar Association's happy hour. They have a fall happy hour. Turns out I was the only young attorney there, and it was me and the board of the association, and that was great because I found that I work really well in a small group of people. So here I had advice and resources and just all sorts of great feedback from a few attorneys who had a lot of experience, who really cared about helping me, and not because they'd never met me before. So that's a really good place to start. Another thing I did was go to a Young Lawyers Division meeting. I went to the Member Outreach Committee meeting, and if you look on the website at the Young Lawyers Division, you'll see that there are meetings all the time. There's probably something happening this week that you could attend, and we love new blood. We need volunteers. It's a great way to get a leadership position, so that's how Doug and I ended up where we are, and it's definitely been really, really excellent. Sorry, I'm kind of struggling with a cold. So another thing that I did is went to a South Asian Bar Association dinner, which was so uncomfortable. Everyone was really dressed up. Everyone seemed to know each other. There were hundreds of people in the room. I was seated at a table with a family friend who I hadn't seen for years, and I even felt too shy to speak with him. So really get to know yourself. You know, think about, where am I comfortable? Chances are I'm not going to all of a sudden be comfortable in a suit at a fancy dinner if I wasn't comfortable doing that before law school or during law school. We haven't changed that much. So another thing I did was just pretend I was still in school. So I have volunteered. I took an internship just recently, even though I'm 2.5 years out. I got involved with the Moderate Means program, and it was really wonderful, and just spoke with people at the ACLU about what I was doing. I didn't want to squander my experience at my job. I realized that one of the most valuable things about being there were the people. They're so talented and bright and really, really compassionate. So it took me a couple of years, but I realized I can tell them, you know, what I really want to do. Yes, I want to be at the ACLU for a long time, but I also want to build my own practice. So I started speaking to the attorneys. Each attorney that I spoke with just sat down with me, sent me contacts, put me in touch with people who they thought could help me, and really, really encouraged me. And so that was a really good thing to do. So I encourage you to just speak with people and be honest, and really do the same sort of introspection that you probably did during law school. Think about what you really want to do and why you want to do that.
Great, thank you, Reese. So now let's hear from Doug to tell a little bit about how you can get involved in kind of industry associations, get away from the lawyers, I call it. So what are some of the ways that you found that to do that? And again, at the end, I'm going to come back to each of you and have you give some quick tips for getting involved in public service, really getting involved in active ways if you're not necessarily from the local region, and Doug to talk a little about getting involved in industry. So
yeah, and I'm going to be really quick because I want Aline to be able to speak about the important programs she wants to talk about. I do business law, and so I focus on that, and it'll come out in everything I talk about. But I think you can apply it uniformly. As she was saying, and I chimed in for a second, I came up here with no expectations of Seattle law practice, business. I knew 0 people. I had no connections. I studied for the bar alone and was buying a home at the time, and it was a difficult process for me. So if you can start at the very bottom of having 0 network and know that it is possible, okay, to build a network and have a career that you want to have, take that home with you, because it is possible. You know, people in this economy especially, I know that people feel like they're drowning sometimes. It's difficult, but if you think about it and you find a way to identify the pool of people that you need to be working with, you can have a successful career. So what I was going to talk about very briefly is, it doesn't matter what part of law you're in, but lawyers typically, historically, have tried to kind of narrow down their relationships between groups of lawyers to talk about law. Well, unfortunately, clients are mostly not lawyers. Unless you represent, unless you're a malpractice attorney and representing lawyers, your clients are different people. They're business professionals. They're criminals. They've been alleged to be criminals. Let's say that. But they're normal people. And you have to, when you think about your practice, I mean, one of the best things I did with having no network was say, I'm going to find a niche, something that I love, and it was construction at the time, and in the past year it's become craft beer, and yes, it is possible to potentially have a legal career in craft beer. Or for Eric, it was startup technology companies, and it's possible to have a career in any kind of industry, but find that pool of people that relate to that industry, okay? It happens everywhere. Any kind of narrow practice area has this big group of people. It doesn't matter if you're a personal injury attorney, it can be medical professionals, it can be consumer rights groups. If you were a criminal lawyer, it could be like the ACLU, essentially, would be a group to be involved with. With construction, it's very easy. There's 1 million of us. Okay, one of the first things I did was get involved with the Master Builders Association. I went and worked with the U.S. Green Building Council, who was setting up Cascadia Green Building Council, took the LEED exam, and now I get involved with a lot of contractors who are trying to do progressive green building. I work with policy for the Associated General Contractors. I've dealt with tons of engineers and spoke with engineers on design issues with green building. There's a wider berth to just law. Okay, and you don't have to only be involved with lawyers who want to talk legal. Guess what? Your clients want to talk legal too, because it's every day of their business. And there are millions of organizations to be involved in that can sink you into that industry and give you notoriety and presence and allow you to network better. So that's all I was going to briefly say before.
Let me do lightning round. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Can I mention just a couple things? One is for all of you who just moved up here and went to law school somewhere else, contact your alumni association at your law school. They let me, right after I came up here, I called them and said I would love to host a happy hour or something. They not only did they let me do it, but they flew the dean up and another representative from the development department, and it was the first real alumni event that we had up here, which was great for everyone who had attended my school. They were really excited about it. It was a great networking opportunity. The other thing is there's an open section night for the Young Lawyers Division of the Bar Association on the 17th. So look that up, and if you want to come there and you don't feel comfortable speaking with the lawyer, just come find me and we can talk.
All right. So we have a question, I think, from our online audience. So this in the World Wide Web. You want to send us the question?
And Elaine, this came in while you were speaking, so I believe I'm going to direct it to you. Does membership in a nonprofit board in a non-legal capacity count towards the 30-hour goal? And is there a way to document your work?
The answer is yes and yes. Any kind of, there's nothing in the RPCs that specifically say that you have to be providing legal assistance, although certainly using your legal skills is something that is obviously encouraged, because as lawyers we're in a unique position to provide legal assistance, of course, which is something that's unique to our profession. So, but there's nothing in the RPC that prohibits you from providing assistance that is non-legal. And as far as tracking, I believe that when you go to your mywsba.org profile, the website where you basically it's your portal into your bar membership, you update all of your information. Every year when you do your licensing, you can submit information about your pro bono hours. And so there's a section on there that makes it really easy for you to provide that information. And we really encourage people to list how many hours they provide. Absolutely.
All right, so now we're going to go lightning round here because I want to get some information for you guys, some real tangible, specific information. So I'm going to give you guys a question and I'd like a quick answer on all of them, so I can get through a lot of things with you guys. So the first one is, what's the best resource that you know of to get information if you're interested in the public service area? What do you know about that area? What's the best single resource?
There are two. There are two.
You get two then.
Resources that I would direct people to. The first is advocateresourcecenter.org. That is sort of your one-stop shopping where you can really do a match. You plug in sort of your area of interest, and there are all the different organizations, nonprofits, civil legal aid, every sort of thing under the sun that you can imagine, particularly as far as it relates to direct services or otherwise, where you could be potentially matched and provided contact information with volunteer coordinators working with attorneys. So that would be one thing. The other thing, too, would be to contact your local bar association. Most local bar associations that are county-based bar associations also have an affiliate program that's sometimes called the Volunteer Lawyer Program or a pro bono program. They can also tell you very specifically how you can get in touch with their volunteer coordinator to be able to provide legal assistance. And those would be really the two primary ways to get in touch.
Great. Reese, what would you say is the best quick resource to find out more about the legal community from someone coming out from another geography?
Just talk to people. I mean, it sounds really simple, but go to an event and talk to people. If you're interested in civil liberties, go to an ACLU event. If you're interested in helping with the foreclosure legal aid clinic, see when they're meeting next, see who to get in touch with, and just send out an email. That's what helped me the most. The more I spoke with people, the more I understood how small the legal community was and the areas that I was interested in. So that was great.
Doug, tell me, what is the best way if you have an interest? So it's either startups or it's business or whatever it might be. What is the best way you would say to find out about that community?
Well, certainly research to determine whether or not a community even exists, and if it doesn't, start it. I'll say one thing, green building lawyers across the country, we're few and far between. There's not a ton of us. Yesterday, I started a green building bar association with a couple attorneys from Virginia, D.C. area, and Louisiana. Build a network, and they will come. And that's kind of what our whole mentality was. And every business, every idea, every passion that you have, there's a community around it. And it doesn't take a lot of digging to figure out who are those people that are involved. For me, for instance, craft beer, how hard was it? There's farmers involved, there's tons of regulators, there's government entities, there's the brewers themselves, there's distributors. So you just kind of have to take those ideas and the people, whoever group came up with the lifestyles of practice constraints, I thought it was a really good issue for you guys to bring up. If you guys are concerned about it, know that we live in a society today that allows you to live your dreams. Really, really you do. I mean, you're able to you can make a business out of just about anything. And if you guys are interested in doing things that you fear are not historical or the typical roles of lawyers, you can craft a career out of that. And many people have been successful at it.
Let me ask a follow-on question here to that fits into that. How much time do you guys spend? I mean, we're all busy people, and these guys are all thinking about how's my career going to happen. And we'll wrap it up here quickly, I promise. How much time do you spend on the non-work these non-work activities? What do you do in a month? How much time do you spend outside of it? Lynn?
Oh, wow. Well, over the years, it's really ranged, particularly when I was prior to law school and in law school and shortly thereafter, I was probably pulling in 20 to 30 hours of volunteer time. Our priorities change over our own personal lives, and I think that one thing to keep in mind is that you can give a little, give a lot, and that changes. What the beauty of it is, of our RPCs, is that there's no set amount, that there's no requirement. We encourage this. It's an aspirational goal, and there's a recognition that it's important to have a life balance. And so incorporate it into your life, make it work, try different ways of being active in community, and it's going to ebb and flow throughout your career. I just want to make another just very quick plug as far as the Moderate Means program is concerned, because the Washington State Bar Association is in the process of launching this new program, and it is really a unique opportunity, particularly for new and young lawyers, to access free free CLEs, have opportunities to have access to free referrals and mentoring opportunities to expand your client base. This is a really great opportunity, I believe, for many of you who are watching this today and participating in this, to get involved, and that's about to launch in the next month or so. And so go to the WSBA.org website and stay tuned, because as Riti pointed out, you can start signing up pretty soon, and we really encourage you to get involved.
Great. Riti, how much time have you been spending on these other activities to get involved in the community?
A good amount, but I feel very lucky because my job at the ACLU is 37.5 hours a week. So I have a lot of I have a lot of free time. I have enough flexibility in my schedule that it allowed me to do a sort of internship the past 3 months, where I worked on Sundays and then early mornings a couple days a week for an attorney to learn about probate and estate planning and family law, so that I could start my own practice. It really varies month to month. I know that there are some times when Doug and it feels like the CLE committee is kind of, sucking up all our free time, but there are other times when, we really just need to attend meetings and get people involved, and it really doesn't take a whole lot to do that. So it's hard for me to put it in hours.
I mean, several hours a week. I mean, I think everybody should try to dedicate yourself, especially when you're a young lawyer, to that commitment. Do it. It's a worthwhile investment. For me, when I quantify things, it's either success or failure, and that's 100%. That's 100% success. There's nothing, in my opinion. That's not an unworthy investment.
That is the perfect way to segue off you to end the day here on that. So again, I want to thank our panelists here. If we can give a quick round of applause. And I have a couple announcements and a couple things to finish up the day here. So the first things I just want to do is, again, at the beginning of the day, we started with a couple questions about things that you all wanted to know about. And hopefully we've tried to do the best to get through some of those answers. What are ways that you can get involved? And I think these panelists specifically gave you a number of ways to get involved. But the most important thing, I think, is just to get involved. As you heard throughout the course of the day, get involved in public service. Get involved in your community. Get involved in the lawyer community. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do it. So ask us questions. And again, I think Riti said it well. Just ask, and it seems like this is a community that's very, very embracing. And understand the things that are important as requirements as a part of being a lawyer. Things like CLE, getting involved in ethics to make sure that you have ethics obligations met, and generally just being an active member of the community. So I think those are important things to think about. But being a lawyer is about much more than, rules, regulations, law, practice, all those kind of things. Like I said, it really is about people. And so I think when you spend your time thinking about what to do to be a young lawyer and be successful, don't squirrel away at your desk and just focus on writing briefs or reviewing merger agreements. That's not what being a lawyer is about. Lawyer is a profession that is about community, and it's about working with people. So again, I think this challenge can be, as a new lawyer, is to sit there and think, I've got so much work to do, and I've got so many people with so many deadlines, I don't have time for this other stuff. All I'm going to do is work. And I'll tell you that the downside of doing something like that is you'll miss out on all the richness of the community. You'll miss out on all the learning that will help you be a better lawyer and get that merger agreement or that brief done faster. Because it really is. It's all of that thing. It gets paid back in spades. And every time that you spend your energy and your passion doing things like CLEs, doing things like panels, doing things like just having lunch with other attorneys or meeting people in this room, it will be paid back in spades. And I think all of us are probably hopefully nodding in approval that it will. So I do want to give you guys an opportunity, first off, to know that there is a chance to kind of continue getting involved in this community. And November 17th, there'll be an event, and it should be all in your panel, your packet there. And I encourage you all to come. It'll be from 5:30 to 7:30 at Davis Wright Tremaine, and it's a great way to get involved with other lawyers and really find out what the Washington State Bar Association does. maybe you're interested in transportation law or communications law or probate or whatever it might be. There's a section that really focuses on that area of law. Or maybe you don't know. This is a chance to talk to attorneys practicing in that field or using those kind of skills that they have to learn more about it. So if you're interested in something like that, I encourage you to go, because there's two reasons to go. One, just network with other young lawyers, and we'll call them seasoned lawyers as well. And two, find out a little bit more about what you want your career to do. I think it was said earlier today that's really important. Take ownership of your career. This is not something that you basically need to, sit there passively while life passes you by. Take ownership. Move jobs if you need to. Find opportunities to follow a path and a career and a practice that you're passionate about. So I encourage you to do that. And one other thing to make sure of is that we do have evaluations here. This program is something that we're trying to get better and involve every year. So we really do need your feedback. So if you guys could at least spend a couple minutes here filling it out, drop it off at the back there, we'd greatly appreciate it. And if you do have other comments, let us know. Sean's in the back there. I'm around, but we're happy to help find ways to make this more entertaining, more educational, and really meet your guys' needs. So again, I think on behalf of the Washington State Bar Association, all the panelists, myself, we really do thank you for taking this time. Giving up a Saturday to do anything may seem like a headache, but really I do think this is taking ownership of your career. And I'll tell you, I'm 5 years in, and I continue to be amazed at all the things I learn and the opportunities that I have. And some of those opportunities really do just come from raising your hand and just showing up. So take the first step and show up next week or 2 weeks from now on the 17th. Find a way to get involved in the Bar Association. You don't necessarily have to spend 20 hours a week, 50 hours a week. Spend a couple hours a quarter, a couple hours a month, and you'll find that pays it back in so much. You'll know more. You'll be a better lawyer. And again, it's a profession that you've all entered, and I think it's exciting, and I think all of us here will tell you that, it's a challenge for sure, but fun roads are ahead. So thank you guys again. Anything else from the leadership of the WSBA? Again, thanks again, and we'll be here if you guys have questions about specifics to get involved, but we again thank you for your time today.